Greetings, metalheads. Welcome to another edition of the Friday 13th YouTube channel. If you subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't, please do. It's free. So, you're about to listen to an audio interview with Eric Wagner from the band Trouble. This was recorded in 1997 at the Music for Nations office in London. It was a great interview. It was fantastic interviewing Eric, which is such a cool guy. Unfortunately, sadly, Eric passed away in 2021. Due to COVID, which is a real shame. But yeah, have a listen to this interview. It's a great interview. Please share on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and any other social media sites. Thanks for watching. Be safe, stay metal. Interview with Eric. First of all, Eric, could you tell me a little bit about each previous albums? How well did it sell? How well did the previous album sell? A rough idea or?
I know, not really.
No.
A lot of it wasn't released in a lot of places. We found out eventually, the last couple records, and so I mean, it must have sold enough, or somebody must have liked us enough to be able to still be here to put out a new record,
Mm-hmm. So which one would you say sold the most?
Sold the most,
yeah.
The last one.
The last one.
Everyone.
How many copies of that did you sell? No idea.
They don't tell us, like it's, to find out, it just, I don't know, it costs money to find out.
Right. Next question is, which one would you say was your favourite album you've done and why? Which one would you say is the best one you've recorded?
Well, every one that is new is my favorite one,
right.
There's things about every one of them I like, because it's just about different times in my life, I write the lyrics, so it's like how I felt at that time,
right.
About life or myself or things that I've seen or things that are going on around me is the subjects that I write about. So each record is really special in that way, because when I listen to it, I remember that particular time in my life, so, some a little more depressing than others, like The Skull, for instance.
That is my favourite album.
It was pretty depressing,
Good
for
stuff.
me,
Right. Why was it depressing for you?
Just the subject, and how I felt then is we were doing a lot of drugs back then, and it's just depressing,
Yeah.
I really couldn't. It is my favorite album from them first three on Metal Blade too, but it took me a long time to be able to listen to it again. Until I think the Trouble record came out at the end of my days. That's when I knew that things were not the same anymore, and I could finally come to terms with that record.
Right. Yeah. So you don't have a specific album that you really like the most, or?
I like The Skull. The first two records I like, and I like the last three too. This album I'm kind of the most proud of in a way, because of all the bullshit business that we just went through, and that we stuck it out and to prove to ourselves that we could still write and things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm proud of this. It's sometimes it wasn't easy, and now to sit here to see the finished product, it's kind of like, wow.
It's a really good shot.
It took 2 years.
I think that's the best cover you've had.
Yes, I think so.
As soon as I saw that last night, my eyes just like.
Well, my favorite cover was always The Skull too. I have the original painting hanging in my house. And
is that the one that was on the LD CD, or is it a different cover altogether?
It was The Skull, the blue one. But I have the full back then. It was different because the CD and things were by themselves, and now I think they release them in a package of two.
Yeah, you can still get them single. Metal Blade have re-released them as Metal Blade Classics single.
Yeah.
So I got them twice single yesterday. There.
So, we did a lot of work on this record. It took 2 years from start to finish, from writing, recording, pre-production, recording, the album cover, the mixing, the sequence of the song, what songs are going to make it onto the record and things.
Right.
And so it took 2 years, and
Right. Yeah. As a band, who are your influences, and how do they fit in with the music that you are playing?
Well, my influence is
Just buy a t-shirt, the Beatles.
Writing lyrics with Lennon and Morrison, I just liked, they had the two things that I liked more. I mean, Lennon was more reality, sharp tongue, witty, and kind of a writer, you know, where Morrison was more spiritual or talking about the unknown and things, and I like both of those subjects. So those were my influence writing lyrics, starting out musically. Them guys, you know, back then were into Purple and Black Sabbath and Lizzie.
That's the band Trouble, you said.
Yeah, the guitar players, because they wrote, you know, they write most of the music. I mean, I can write a melody and just accompany myself with the guitar, but it's up to them to really put the music to it, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Right, how would you describe your music? And what is your opinion being classed as a Black Sabbath clone band? Does that really piss you off when people
Well,
say
it doesn't piss me off. I mean, everybody has their
opinion?
influences.
Right.
I mean, why did, first of all, it's not so terrible to be said that, you know, that people can hear Black Sabbath in their material, but what about other bands? Like, is there Black Sabbath and Alice in Chains? You know, or say Green Day? Who are their influences? Do they sound like Sex Pistols and Ramones and things? So why aren't they considered that? Why are we? You know, and personally, I really don't think that we sound like Sabbath. I mean, Black Sabbath was Black Sabbath. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think you do either.
if we were going to copy Sabbath, there was other bands I thought that sounded more like Sabbath than we did.
Right.
You know, like Witchfinder General or something. I mean, he
Band,
didn't sing like Ozzy or nothing. Or, you know, first of all, I don't sound anything like Ozzy.
You can sing, you can.
Well, I think he can sing too. He was one of my favorite singers too. Not the favorite, but you know, after Lennon, Morrison, and Ian Gillan is probably my favorite hard rock singer. You know?
What's your opinion on Rob Halford? Do you like Rob Halford singing now?
I liked them more in the earlier days, like Sad Wings of Destiny and Stained Class. I think maybe is my favorite Priest record.
I like Beyond the Rooms of Death.
Yeah, but I like more different voices. I think Bob can definitely sing, but I was more into, he has a voice where other people have too, a cleaner voice where I like more nitty-gritty type voices, like, you know.
Right.
But Rob Halford definitely had one. I mean, has or have one of the best voices in rock, you know.
Yeah. I think, well, in my opinion, I think he's the best singer in rock because, like,
Well, see, me, Ian Gillan is I like.
Yeah.
I just.
It's what you grew up on at the time.
Well, and I think if I could sing probably Deep Purple songs easier than Judas Priest songs. But we used to do Beyond the Realms of Death and Victim of Changes and Sinner.
I'd love to wear them. You haven't got any tapes, have you?
Back when we started out, we were doing cover songs.
Right. Next question is, could you tell me a little bit why it took Trouble so long to get a deal after Into the Light? What other labels showed interest in you?
Well, after Run to the Light, I mean, we were getting ready to do our next record, and Deaf American was interested. So it just took a long time to get out of our contract with Metal Blade, to sign the new deal, to come up with some more music, and then Rubin. The one thing that I'll give Rick Rubin credit in teaching me is how to arrange a song.
Right.
So in that aspect, it was good that we met Rick Rubin.
Are you still friends with Rick then?
Well, I haven't really talked to him in a few years now.
Do you think Metal Blade Records did a lot for you when you were signed to them?
They were what now?
Do you think they did a lot for your band, Metal Blade?
No, well, they couldn't. At that time, you know, they were an independent label. I mean, they didn't really have the resources. I mean, when we signed to Deaf American, Rick Rubin, I mean, we had the money to record a major record, where on Metal Blade we didn't.
Right.
And he did teach us how to arrange. Things were good at the beginning. By the end, I think once Black Crowes hit Deaf American, things were just different there.
Yeah.
You know.
So what other labels approached you besides Deaf America Records?
Well, at that time, none really. I mean, we were just going to do another record on Metal Blade, and all of a sudden, I heard that Rick Rubin really liked us, and so I called him up. I got his phone number. Somehow, through 5 people, I finally got his telephone number and called him up, and he answered the phone. I'm like, hey, this is Eric from Trouble. I heard you were interested. Let's, he's like, let's do it. So we really didn't. We weren't even looking. It just kind of happened.
My next question is, why did Def Jam drop you? Was it because of lack of sales, or did you just
we wanted out of our deal.
You wanted out of your deal, did you? I'm not so sure what the situation
The lack of
was.
sales is, you can't buy the record if it's not in the store.
Yeah, right. So, how did Music for Nations deal come around? Are you happy with them? And how long is the deal for?
Well, we're really signed to Intercord in Germany, and it's over here is Music for Nations.
Yeah.
And so far everything is good. It's going to be released everywhere in Europe and the UK and things, and everybody seems to like the band and willing to work. I mean, that's why we signed with Intercord.
Right.
There was a few other labels that were interested in things, and at the end we felt that this situation with Intercord, Rough Trade, and Music for Nations, they had the most to offer, and wanted to work the band.
How would you compare Trouble with Manic Frustration?
To the new album?
Yeah, Manic Frustration. How would you compare Trouble with Manic Frustration?
Oh, the Trouble record was more groove, I think, heavy groove orientated. Manic Frustration was a little more psychedelic, I thought, sounding melodies and things, and this new one I think is just heavier.
Yeah.
Heavy. There's psychedelic and groove. I mean, it's still Trouble.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trouble will always be Trouble as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we can't just stay and write the same stuff over and over again,
Yeah.
So especially me, I like exploring different music, but the end result, the sound, and Meet My Boy or whatever, it's still Trouble.
Yeah.
And we were never stuck in a category where we had to make this kind of music. We can do what we want.
So how would you compare the latest LP with the earlier albums? Would you say you're going back to the earlier style with the new release? Or do you think it's a bit of Manic Frustration mixed in with like the skull and...
It's heavy and psychedelic. I mean, we don't do things on purpose. It's just, when we start writing, that's just how it turns out. So it wasn't like where we sat down and say, well, let's go back to the earlier days. I mean, it just happened that way. Maybe that's how we felt right now. I don't know.
Right.
But I really do think that it is the heaviest record since the Skull.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, man, definitely. So could you tell me a little bit about Barry? Why did he leave Trouble? And are you still friends?
Well, we fired Barry after we did that small tour over here last April.
One for the road EP, yeah.
And when we got back, he was the final piece to say bye to. We were calling them 3 people, 3 stooges. Our management, Deaf American, but it didn't seem like he was into what we were doing anymore. And it was becoming a distraction and business problems and things. And things are a lot quieter now, and everybody's happy. We own ourselves. Maybe that has something to do with it too.
Right. Before asking the original drummer in the band, Jeff, to join the band, who else do you approach? I had a rumour that Reed from COC was going to play drums on this album.
Yeah, well, we asked him first to do it. We really wanted a permanent replacement. And we knew Reed would leave COC.
Yeah.
So at the same time that we asked Reed to do the record, we were also auditioning drummers. And it was getting pretty pitiful. There was just nobody. Finally, one day I just looked at Bruce after one of the auditions and said, let's call Jeff. And I originally just asked him to do the record. But after about 3 days, he wanted to come back. Like last time, even when the first time he joined the band, it was the same situation where our very first drummer, when we first got together, left the band.
Right.
And we had some gigs lined up, and Jeff came in and he was going to help us out because he was from the same town we were.
Yeah.
And he never left.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah, and the same with this time. He came again to do the record, and he's not leaving. So, I mean...
I remember you saying to me last night you think his drumming's got better now than what it was years ago when he was in trouble.
He's a lot better, right?
Yeah.
He knows it, too. He thinks so, too.
Yeah.
You know, he's just learned a lot. He went to the school of music and things. And
Yeah, you said, yeah.
he's learned how to drum. So just us going out.
Would you say that Barry was a basic drummer then? A basic drummer, or do you think he did the job
He was a
adequate,
good
or
drummer.
he won't?
I thought he was a good drummer, too. You know, I think Jeff, they're different. So it's kind of comparing apples and oranges, you know, kind of what do you like better. And, but Barry was a good drummer.
Yeah.
He was a good drummer too. You know. Maybe how we are, we're more laid back, kind of hippies or whatever, where Jeff fits that a little better than Barry. Barry came from the thrash metal scene. And
Yeah, his E-Trop is all about
yeah,
now.
so that way, I think that Jeff maybe fits in a little better with how we look or act and things, you know.
So, besides Reed and Jeff, was anybody else you was going to have as a drummer? Was that it, just those two guys?
There was nobody. We auditioned probably 5-6 drummers in Chicago before we called Jeff.
Who approached Jeff to rejoin Trouble? I mean, are you happy with his performance in the new album?
Well, I gave him a call and asked him if he was interested in doing the new record.
Yeah.
And yes, I think he did a fantastic job on the record. I mean, the drums sounded great on the record. So he did an excellent job.
What about the rest of the band? What do they think of his drumming?
I think they think the same.
Yeah, they think this guy's... Yeah, do you think he's permanently in the band now for good? He's back in and...
Well, for now anyway, you know, I see nothing changing that right at this moment, you know. He's very enthusiastic, especially about recording the next record, because he wanted to be more involved. He just felt on this record that he kind of just played drums, you know, where he wants to be more involved again in things. So he's very enthusiastic about being back in the band.
Right.
And that's what we needed. We needed that enthusiasm.
Right, my next question is, could you tell me why you chose the title, Plastic Green Head? And whose idea was it? Was there any other titles as well?
Yeah, well, we were kicking around different titles for the album, and one morning at the breakfast table, I just blurted that out. At the time, it really didn't mean anything. I mean, people, they looked at me like I was crazy or something. You know, but as time went on, it kind of grew on everybody.
Right.
It's just bizarre. And looking at through these magazines and other releases, since I've been sitting here, I've been reading different. There's plenty of weird albums, titles like in there, you know. I can't think of anything offhand, but what's that one, Hippie Blood or something band?
I don't know.
It's here somewhere, but that's a pretty bizarre Hippie Blood something, you know, Metal Hippie Blood or something. I mean, that's it. So we felt that it just fit in with today's, you know.
What other titles did you have besides that one?
For this album, I mean, at one point it was going to be called Opium Eater.
Yeah, that is a brilliant song, that.
But we just felt that maybe we shouldn't do that, you know, because we...
It might jeopardise the cover and being in shops and stuff.
Well, yeah, you know,
encouraging people to take drugs, sort of.
Well, I mean, I think the kids would have liked it and things. But there's sometimes, you know, there's just things that you shouldn't do. You know, we also want to have our video shown on MTV and things like that, and to be in the mainstream major market. I think that reference to drugs, it wouldn't have been a good idea to do.
Right, what other covers, what's the cover concept behind?
Well,
I was going to say, because I haven't seen it, but I have now, so...
Right, well, I mean, really I always let the artist kind of do it himself. He asked me questions.
Who was the guy who did the...
His name is Till. Jeez, I can't even think of his last name. It's written in here. But
Yeah. What has he done besides?
he's a computer guy. He used to work with Todd Rundgren on CD-ROMs and things. And, we met him towards the end there. Jeff is our manager, Weller, and he read the lyrics and things. And you know, at first Jeff is like, "Wow, that's pretty heavy," and he's like, "Well, the album's heavy, you know." And I think there's a lot for people to see here. I really like it too.
Yeah.
He did a great job, I thought.
Yeah.
It's pretty bizarre.
Right, next question is, why did you only do, why did you do the one for the road EP as a limited? Why did you
Well,
only do it?
that wasn't even really at first going to be that. We just went into a studio to record a demo for record companies to hear, because we really didn't have anything, and we had to have something on tape, and with at least a halfway decent quality, you know. I mean, it's just a demo. Once we decided to do that little tour last April and May.
It's like a little German thing, I understand, was it?
Yeah, we
It
did
is
like
German.
3 shows in Germany and 5 in Holland, 1 in Belgium. We were playing for the record companies and things, and we just decided at the last minute, well, let's press this demo. I mean, the quality's not the greatest.
Yeah, I've got one, yeah.
But we wanted to give something to the people, have something for the people to let them know that we appreciated that they were still with us, and that we were going to come out with something new pretty soon, and here's something to tie you over, because it has been a long time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like an appreciation thing, and we just decided to make it limited, to make it special.
I'm glad I've got one, because like I'm a die-hard Trouble fan, massive fan. Right, I noticed on the LP there's 2 tracks that are on the EP. Is it Requiem and Another Day? I noticed it's slower. Why is that? I mean, because I use it to like slow them down a little bit.
Well, I don't know. That's just how we played it that time.
Because at first I got the advanced tape from Michael, and I thought there was something wrong with my tape deck. I thought it was slowing down the motor. I thought, this sounds weird. It doesn't sound like the CD.
Well, maybe the tape. I mean, it's not a Maxell tape or anything, you know.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard that advanced copy, so I don't know.
Right. Just sounds
Back
slightly slower.
Well, back when we did that, I mean, those were the first times we were playing those songs. They were brand new songs. So when we went to the studio with the new album, I mean, I don't know. That's just how we played it, you know, at that time.
Right. Next question is, could you tell me briefly about the songs? I mean, you actually write the songs, I guess.
Well, the lyrics.
Yeah.
Mostly.
What's the? You can tell me briefly what the songs are in your mind, like what?
Like what? Anything in particular? Or?
Just go from roughly, man. Gives a rough idea for the readers to know what's.
Well, on a couple of the songs, I just get things off my chest, directed at a few people.
Right, which were?
Like Plastic Green Head is directed to the establishment, kind of the person with the money. Well, in the United States, money's green, so I mean,
yeah.
It's just really the establishment, just pissed off a little bit at people. The Eye is about the last record, because they had the eye on the cover.
Yeah.
So I kind of get into that a little bit there. Flowers is about the day we spent in the cemetery in Paris visiting Morrison.
Yeah.
You know, we were on vacation there, and one day we went there, and it was pretty cool. You know, and when I got home, I wrote that song. When I listen to that song, I remember that day.
Right.
You know, and let's see, the Opium Eater is about.
It's obvious.
Well, no, it's about me sitting in my room.
Yeah.
Writing the lyrics to the new record.
Do you write most of your lyrics when you're stoned or what?
No.
Your lyrics are like really freaky, a bit like Psychotic Wolves.
Just one way at a time.
Have we?
Yeah. Really, we've got 2.
Well, we can finish here what this question.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay then, yeah.
Sorry, man.
All right,
That's okay.
always.
Yeah, we got so many people coming in today. Everybody gets their allotted time, you know.
Right, this next question is, I'll just roughly go through them. Are you going to do a video for this album?
Yeah, we haven't decided which one yet, though.
Right.
it's a hard decision. I mean, Flowers or something will probably be the second video, or Porpoise Song, but
Yeah.
the first one we wanted to get a little heavier one, more rocker. So record company wants us to do Plastic Greenhead.
Right. Right. Who produced the album? Are you happy with it, the way it turned out?
Well, we did.
Yeah.
We produced pretty much all the records.
Right.
I think the only one that somebody else had more involvement in was the Trouble record, the first one on Deaf American. Ruben went into pre-production with us, showed us how to arrange songs and things. So we produced this record, and yes, I'm happy, but not satisfied.
Right.
And which is a good thing, because I think once I'm satisfied,
You can relent.
then I'm done. I can just figure out to do something else then.
Right. I understand you might be a headline in Dynamo this year.
Nothing's been confirmed tour-wise yet. It's when I get back, the first number one priority will be the video, and of course the album will be released next month, so we are going to start working on tour.
Right. My last question is, I understand you've only done a couple of shows in London, one off. Are you going to include a full UK tour in this?
Well, we're hoping, yes. I mean, we want to do a full European, UK tour,
Yeah.
and United States too. So
Nice one. Right. Last question is, do you have anything to say to Friday 13th readers and your fans? Nothing.
that.
Right. Okay. Thanks.